Welcome to Art Chats with La Mitotera. I'm your host, Mel Dominguez. Today's guest artist is Shorty, aka Patricia Gonzalez Silva. What's up, Shorty? But can you tell them where you're from?
I am originally here from Tucson, Arizona. I was actually born in Waco, Texas. I'm an Air Force brat, but my family's originally here from Tucson. So I was a retirement bonus that came with my parents back to Tucson after they retired after 20 years of my dad being in the military.
Oh my God, that's very cool. Yeah, you know what? I was realizing, like, going through and thinking about interviewing you. I was realizing I think I know quite a few of your family members.
Yes, we're very well known here in Tucson. There's a lot of us here.
Well, so tell everybody, what got you started? Like, what got you into art? Have you always been an artist, or is this something? Tell us.
That's a good question. I actually, as growing up as a kid, I always knew that I loved art. Always did. From making mud pies in the front yard, and make little pottery, and drawing chalk outside and drawing on different anything I could find to draw on. When I was in high school, I was very well known for doing the bubble letters, and I was the one that would do all the posters for everybody. If we had homecoming, anything, I was the one that drew all the posters out and did all that stuff for everybody. But never did I believe that I had the ability to be the artist that I am today. So that took me a very long time to actually grasp that. It took a long time for me to realize my potential, so to say. But
Why was that?
I think just really insecure. My sister is very talented. I have a very, very talented family. And I don't know if it's being the baby of four girls or what. I just never really embraced, the creativity that I had, which was really crazy to me. And I went to art school, actually. I went to art school. It was called the Art Center of Tucson. And I had to sketch a little something in order to get in. Girl, you should have seen what I sketched. I sketched a little McDonald's cup. My shading was on, what the hell. And I sent it in. But oddly enough, and I kid you not, it was my credit that got me into that school. And when I got in, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I have no right to be in this audience with these other students because they all did art in high school. And when I was in high school, I did print shop. I don't know if anybody out there remembers Mr. Cicero at Pueblo. He was an amazing teacher there at Pueblo, and he took me under his wing, and I did my stuff at Pueblo, but never in my wildest dreams did I think of taking an art class while I was in high school. And when I listened to everybody talk about the different art classes they took, and then from there it took them to college, it always makes me feel like, man, I really missed out on that. But you know what? There was a different purpose for where I am today. And believe it or not, I did nails for 31 years before I had this ability. So I just started painting on canvas about 5 years ago. But all these little things that I've done in the past have led up to the artist that I am today. But John Salgado from Raíces, he calls me a very tight artist because my art was so tight. I went with Guadalupe de la Torre to take an art class, and she's like, "Ay, Patricia, loosen up your wrist." I can't. I'm there, really detailed doing all my work. But I would say that my journey did start many, many years ago. But for anybody who doesn't believe that they have the ability to follow their dream, I mean, look at me. I'm 51 years old, and I just started, 5 years ago, and I'm just so blessed for where this journey has taken me so far. And I got to tell you, I was thinking about it the other day. I'm thinking, when was the first time I saw your artwork? This was before I even had an inkling that I could even draw on canvas. And I was at the tamale company, and I'm like, damn, who is this person? And when I finally met you, I don't know if you remember, the first time we met was over at the Tohono Chul when we did the Day of the Dead event. And I was so in shock and awe. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting Mel. So I want you to know, my love, that you were one of my first inspirations, and you inspired me so much by the beauty of your colors and all the richness of your work. I thought, man, if I could even draw remotely a little ounce of what this person is doing. And to think now, look at where I am right now. You know how you just never know where God's going to lead you and where your talents are going to lead you if you really, really look within yourself and don't fear the unknown, because the biggest struggle is just putting myself out there, regardless of how uncomfortable it is. And look at where we are today. I would have never in my wildest dream think I'm talking to my Mel.
Man, you make me feel good. Thank you. I'm kind of like, oh, just taking it all in, like this story. I had no idea, but like when you mentioned about the bubble letters, when you started doing that, I was working in art production in my high school for all the football games and stuff like that. So I kind of associate with that. Hey, you know what? I remember you know what, from artist to artist, I love jumping into the colors and just making it happen because this is our lifetime, you know, right? And we're rich in time and where we put our energy. So I'm glad I know you now in this way. You know what? I was also thinking when I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? I've mostly met you through events though. Like whenever I see you, you're at an event. How did that start for you? How did you jump into that?
Gosh, well, this whole journey started back in 2012. My sister is Julie Gallego. She's the director and owner of Viva Performing Arts. So Julie has been a big part of the community for years with Flocorico, and she's done all these amazing things when she goes to Phoenix and does these different productions all over the place. And she was chosen to do a production in Phoenix for the 100-year when Arizona became a state in 2012 when we had our 100-year celebration. And she's like, all right, my sister, I need your help. We're going to make these huge Day of the Dead calaveras. Mind you, girl, I've never done anything like that. I'm like, crazy. What are you thinking of? Girl, we can't do something like that. She's like, no, we can do it. We can do it. I'm like, all right. Whatever she says, we always jump in feet first and we do it. So that's how it started. So once I did those, and I remember I was all proud because I thought, oh, look at what I accomplished. Look at what I did. And I remember I went up to a really well-known artist. I don't know his name, but he's in Phoenix. And he goes, yeah, so who made those big calaveras? I go, I did. He goes, oh, really? I was like, okay, well, maybe I didn't. I was like, yeah, felt good for about a minute. But that didn't stop me. I said, you know what? That was my first time. Let me see what else I can do with this. So that's how it started. So if you see that calavera behind me, the one that the Walmart hanging on the wall, that's how it started. I went to Joann's after Halloween and they were having a 70% clearance on an ice mold of a mask like that. And I said, well, what the heck? I'm going to have my husband make a mold of it out of plaster and see what I can do with it. So believe it or not, in 2012, that's how it started, by painting those calaveras back there. And I had my at the Mercado at San Agustin when they were just starting to do, I don't know how many years it already had been taking place at that time, but when they started having more performers going and doing the little events there inside the patio, my sister Julie got me involved. She got me in touch with Kira. And that's how I did my very first show on a little table with 5 little calaveras, and that's where it started. And it just has grown from there. So I've been very blessed to meet different people, you know, like yourself. And I actually met John and Cece from Raíces. I met them through my nephew, Gabriel, the snake, Cotero. Gabriel went to them. And they have been a blessing in my life because they took me under their wing and they really helped me to, just inspired me to continue learning. And a lot of learning was on my own. People will ask me, where'd you learn how to paint? I go, I did nails for 30 years. I did all that little detail on the nails and I YouTube a lot of stuff. I honestly still am not comfortable in my own skin with my shading and different things like that, but that all comes, I had to accept and grasp that this is my style, this is what I do, and that's okay. You know, I'll learn as I keep on growing, but where I'm at right now, I'm happy.
Well, there's just so much to touch base on. I'm like, oh man, maybe that was Zarco, the artist in Phoenix. And
from there, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Zarco and Carmen, I actually met them, honest to golly, I was looking on Facebook and I saw the Phoenix Fridas. And I was so inspired by everything they were doing in Phoenix, and they were having a call to artists. I'm like, what the hell? All I can say is no. So I submitted my artwork and I was accepted. And that's where I met Carmen and Zarco Guerrero, and they have changed my life tremendously in Phoenix. I've been so blessed to do different events over at the Desert Botanical Gardens. I've done, Adam and I, which is my husband, we've done Day of the Dead. We've done the altars over there for the past 4 years now. And that is a blessing to be in the midst of so many talented artists and to be able to put our altars in there and to learn more about Dia de los Muertos. Because honestly, my grandfather was from Sonora, so I really didn't know anything about Dia de los Muertos. We didn't celebrate it, so it was all new to me. So to find out more about it and to enrich that in my family has been such a blessing. And unfortunately, it's sad, but every year more family members go upon those altars in Phoenix or here in Tucson at Raíces or at Tohono Chul. So it's been a blessing.
Oh, yes, it has. Well, the thing is that the Day of the Dead, the event, and the holiday itself, has grown larger because it has more of the ability for everybody to grieve. Because a lot of times, what we've noticed in therapy and whatnot is that people sometimes that they're grieving by themselves and they're grieving alone, or they don't have any sort of outlet for that. So the participation in the event is big, and there's we still have to educate each other on the culture behind it. But I think it's really awesome. But you mentioned somebody, your partner in crime, Adam.
My hubby, you know what? I have been so abundantly blessed with such an amazing man because everything that I do cannot be done without him. Just like you and Melissa are such a great team. You know what it's like. If you don't have that partner by your side that inspires you and is just there to, even when things are going rough, they never tell us, what the hell are you thinking? You know, so I am immensely blessed for my husband. He builds those altars for me. He'll make my calaveras for me and goes to every show with me. And just like you guys, that's why I'm so inspired by you guys too, because it's like we're this little tag team. You know, this little tag team that really works. I mean, you can see what you and Melissa bring to the community, what you do for us as artists. It's such a beautiful thing. And I think that's so important for people out there to see too, that this is something that you can do as a couple, that you can really enrich your relationship through what you do through art and everything else, because it's such a unique opportunity that we have to meet so many amazing people every time.
Yep, those mercaditos, they were just picking up. We were getting some nice little momentum out there. And I mean, the fact that we get to expose people to more of your artwork, and like for instance, there's one that you just painted, and I want to say it's in honor of your daughter right now.
The one right behind me over here to my left, this yellow one here. Yes, that one, I named her yet, but that is a very important piece. We talked about that yesterday and how important that one is to me. Honestly, I don't think people realize too, and that's something I want to get out to the public of how important it is when you pick up a piece of an artist's artwork and the heart and soul that goes into that you don't understand the hours of sometimes anguish. I wish I could say that a lot of times my paintings were like a happy, joyous moment. Honestly, more anguish comes out of my paintings than happiness. But through that anguish, it's healing. So at the end, the healing moment, and I can see at the end of the painting that I got through whatever I was going through at that moment. And it's kind of like a memento of things yet to come, you know, because usually not all the time do things come out in a good outcome, but it's a memory that in a part of healing, like we talked about, to me, it's like a counseling session with myself, if that makes any sense. Because, you know, my mind is just going and going. And with this particular piece, you know, my daughter's a type 1 diabetic. She's 29 weeks pregnant right now. And I just posted something on Facebook. I'm going to have to post it on Instagram that gives the full story behind it. But while I'm painting in my room, she's in a room next to me and I could hear her struggling to breathe, or I could hear her in pain, you know, because of what she's going through. And so all of that anguish went into this painting. So I was telling you yesterday, I'm not going to sell her, but you know, today I already sold my first print today. I only put her out this afternoon and I already sold my first print. So I'm very blessed for that. But I just want people always to respect, and we always do. I shouldn't even say that because a lot of the times, I would say 99.9% of the time, we have people respect our artwork, but you still have that one person that'll come and say, oh, well, I can do that, or, oh, you know, always has something to say. But to know that every piece that an artist does gives so much of themselves. And that's for us to remember, when even respecting each other when we look at each other's work.
No, definitely. Like that's the one of the main reasons why we decided to do interviews with artists, is because that sometimes it's definitely not just about the artwork, but it's where the backstory came from. Like, what was the inspiration for that? Which that's why I was asking you. Is there anything like a type of music that you get into when you're painting?
Oh yes, my Santa Cecilia are my favorites. Of course, my Lila Downs. Who else? My Buena Vista Social Club. Who else do I have on my playlist? I mean, I can have anything from Journey to Van Halen to I mean, you name it. My music is, I have no specific things that I go to, but a lot of the times when I'm doing it, I find myself listening to these strong Latina artists that really give me that, you know, Chabela, they really give me that, oh, that sense of passion when
Oh, yeah, no,
but
no, I understand. Woo. I'm like, no, no, hell yeah. But how about this? I mean, all this stuff is going on. How have you been coping with the whole quarantine and being an artist? Like, have you still been painting? Are you doing more mom stuff? What are you up to?
well, my life is a little crazy. I did have 11 people living in my house here up to a few weeks ago. My daughter, being that my daughter's so sick, we kind of had to put other people in quarantine outside of the house. So, but I love it. I'm gonna be the grandma of 7 grandkids at the end of this year. So I'm very blessed. But in that time, funny enough, with all the craziness and the chaos in here, I work better with all the chaos just because there's so much life in the house. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just fills me with so much happiness that I love it when there's a lot of people here. I find my room, of course, I go and close myself in my bedroom, but I can still hear everybody out there and hear everything going on. But I love my chaos in my house. But I have been able to create a lot of stuff, which has been a blessing. I've been able to get ready for, God willing, we're going to have Dia de los Muertos events at the end of this year. So I'm getting those things ready and just creating new pieces daily, trying to get inspired by different emotions. And even with the COVID going on, it gives you a different perspective of what things are important, so it's been a good thing. I must say it's been a little difficult at times, but in all, I think as an artist, I've been more inspired because I've just been able to create, which has been amazing.
That's cool. It's been hard. Me and Melissa were just strategizing for a minute, but now it's picking up. I'm like, oh yeah, because I kind of like, how you say, like almost like a chef. I keep recipes for myself, like how you said with the music. So I got a playlist or I got something that I get into a zone or books and stuff like that. So I've been digging into the stuff that I've been kind of like hoarding. Like, oh, I need this for later, But so what? Like, is that how you like what got you into making it like a storefront? Because you made a little gallery there at your sister's building, right? The Viva.
Sister was very, very generous, and she had 2 different studios, a small studio and a large studio. And she's like, my sister, we got to give you a place where people can come and actually see your work. So she had started a little religious store, and she opened it up for me to come in and put my things in there. And it's been so great because I'm sure you can relate to this. When we go to shows and people ask, well, where can I see your stuff? And you're like, well, so now you have the gallery, you can have people come over. So I feel truly, truly blessed to be able to have a place where I call my girls, where they have a place to rest until they're finally rest in place when somebody comes and takes them home. So
That's
I'm very
awesome. You know what? While we have the audience, can you tell them how they can find you on Instagram, and when we get clearance to get out of the house, where they can find you on the weekends or something?
It's in the Viva Performing Arts building. It's on Park Avenue. I tell everybody it looks like the Alamo. It's a building between Irvington and Ajo, and it just looks like the Alamo. So we're located in that building there. And on Instagram, I'm Soul Design Studio 12. You can find me on Instagram there.
Let me ask you something else. What's your favorite material to work with? And then what do you like to really paint? Like what's your favorite thing? Because I've seen you paint a lot of things. But what's your favorite?
Favorite would have to be, I call them my ladies of the desert, because I have to share the story. When I first started drawing, Frida Kahlo was such an inspiration to me, because as a woman and with my own stupid choices that I made as a young girl and the suffering that came with that, I related so much to her story. But forgiveness was something that I had a really difficult time struggling with. And after I read her story and I understood the compassion that she had for anybody who crossed her path, that just inspired me to really focus more on women. So a lot of my pieces that you'll see are women. And I incorporate a lot of our desert landscape. I have the agaves. I just started right behind me here. I just started with solo, I think they're called solo wood flowers, where they make these beautiful flowers out of wood. And I started with succulents. So I like to give a lot of different textures. A lot of the times you'll find my artwork and I actually pipe out with a cake piping. I pipe out Liquitex, the really heavy gel, and I'll
Yeah.
work, and it just gives it a totally different look and a different dimension. And it's so funny, Mel, because when I started doing that, honestly, and I could be wrong, but this is how I interpreted it. I found so many people criticizing that I was doing that, like it wasn't such, it was too tight for people, and it was too structured. And I don't know, I mean, again, I said it could be me, but I still
No,
ran with it. Don't give a shit. That's me, and I'm gonna do what I feel is in my heart and what makes it special and different for me. And oddly enough, little by little, I'll see other artists incorporating there in their artwork, and that makes me feel really good. It makes me
yeah.
feel really good. Open up their minds to try something different, and it doesn't have to be so structured. And so, you can box and do different things. So that's one thing. And another thing with that I wanted to share with you, I have been so blessed to meet so many different artists out there. And another thing I would like to share with artists out there is, especially during this time, is if you can find different avenues to share your work in different mediums, in different ways. And again, people were a little against me in the beginning because they're like, oh my gosh, you're selling that and you haven't even sold your original yet, or you've got prints out there and you still, you're making it too, I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to figure out how to use, but in my heart, I figure everybody should be able to own a piece of art. Everybody should own a piece of art. If I'm going to sell a painting for $3,000, I want to make sure that somebody coming up that only has $5 in their pocket can buy a sticker or buy a little mini print. And that's one thing too, that I am very blessed that I had a good friend of mine. Her name is Susan Libby. I don't know if you know her. She's an artist here in Tucson. She's
Maybe.
amazing. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She met me at La Encantada when I first started doing this, and she came up to me, oh my gosh, Patricia, your work is amazing. This is my photographer. Go get your things photographed here. And once you get a photograph, go to this company and get prints made, and go here and go there. And that opened such a big door for me because I wasn't stuck on just holding on to my original and hoping that I was going to sell it. And thanks be to God, I have sold my originals, but it has given me such a bigger open door. And I want people out there to understand, don't stay stuck on, well, it's an original, I don't work with prints. Don't sell yourself short, because it is such a gift that you're giving to somebody else to go beyond that original. And of course, you can make a limited edition. You don't have to make a million of them, but step outside the box and share your art and your ability with the world, and share it with each other as local artists. Don't be stingy with your knowledge. We are all unique. We are all different. We are all amazing in our own ways. And if you want something, if you want to know, hey Patricia, where'd you get your pillowcases made? Where'd you get your prints made? Hey, you ask me, and I am a fountain of information. I will give you all that information, because we are different. We are different, and we are here to help each other. And honestly, I am thankful for Susan Libby and Jerry Brigham, because those are the two ladies that really helped me to step outside of that thinking of I can only sell my original and I can't do anything outside of that. So
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it, because that's where we're at right now. We're cutting out the middle people. You know what I mean? You're the curator of your event space. You do you make it accessible to others so that they can start their collection. And then, you know what? I love that you play with different material like that. The little tubita, what do you call it? The pipe fitter. Like, that's dope. Yeah.
it's been fun. It's been really.
Imagine there's students out there, and there's nothing wrong with college or anything like that, but there's a lot of students that they're tight. They're tight. They want to stay in these rules. And for me, I consider like a living legend. You're an artist working in your time right now. You're sharing those experiences, because it's like, well, how much time do we have? You know what I mean? Like, we don't have anything that's for sure as far as time. And you know what? That's why I am glad you're here on Instagram Live with me, because you're actually moving with that current as it changes. We're not in person, but guess what? We're still around. We're still painting. We want to let people know that we're still creating. it's almost like we're art therapists too. You know, we show people another side of things.
Right. And sharing that story, you know, that's another part of therapy for our clients out there. I've actually made a little book at Walgreens with all my artwork, sharing the story of each piece. Because so many times people will come up and say, well, what is the symbolism of the hummingbirds? Or what is it? What is this? What is that? And when you share that story with that person, they're even more touched, and something draws them to that painting. Something draws them, something that is in their heart. And that is such a gift that we give to others. Isn't that cool? I mean, that is so, it is such a gift. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of everything that you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Imagine like growing up for a long time, all I hung out with was male artists. And it just so happened to be that way. And I don't know that if it was because of insecurities or because of, you know, the way that I am, that I'm more masculine than feminine. But later on in life, like right now, I'm finding myself surrounded by women entrepreneurs. That, I mean, you gave, you know, respect right now to the folks who broke that ice for you. But it took you a minute to figure that out, you know? And so you dropping that knowledge on all the people who are watching right now, that's really huge. And I admire you for that. You know what? Can you have anything there that you can actually show right now to the public? Any of your art there?
Baby, what I have. Let me show you up close this little guy because she's easier to get down.
Awesome.
What I want to share with people too is not be afraid of sticking some extra mediums in there. This one here is one that I just worked on the other day. It's just on a simple wood panel. And she's got the succulents in there. I love to do different mixed media and make them three-dimensional. And just
that's really cool.
Well, I mean, it's something that I started playing with this year, and I really, really, really like that. So she's one of my new favorites.
Oh, that's so cool.
Looking forward to
those masks.
Oh, baby, let me see if I can. Let me grab this one behind me. So this little guy here, the little mold that Adam has, and you can see all the different detail. Adam puts these little copper things in the back so they can hang on the wall, and then we put a piece of felt on the back as well, so it just gives it a nicer, clean look. But he does he molds them. So we bought the mold, like I said, how many years ago? Gosh, it was a while ago, 7 years ago, and that's how it started.
So how much is a piece like that for the audience if they're interested? How much is something like that?
125.
Yeah, that's right.
120.
She's a local artist. You heard it here.
I love my little
OG.
Calavera.
Each time she makes one, it's handmade with her partner. Like, damn.
It's a blessing indeed. And of course, you know, I find the little acrylic flowers online. You know, I don't make those myself, but some of them, I don't have one where I could grab off the wall, but I'll hand make the flowers out of clay. I'll do strands of their hair out of little rolling out the clay and doing, you know, just having fun and trying to create something unique and really different. So that's been a lot of fun. And I am super behind because I'm very sell them at what is it called? What is the name of the Desert Artisans? Dang, I couldn't think of the name. Desert Artisans over on Tanca Verde. And you would think, you know, I'm up there with all the very jaitones, you know, and I think to myself, who the hell's going to want to go buy a calavera mask in February? You'd be surprised. You know, people come from out of town and they come and buy them. And so it's been really, really cool. And that's another blessing is don't be fearful to get out there and ask people if they're willing to put your stuff in the store. A lot of the times you'll think, well, damn, you know, they're going to take 50% of what I make. That's your advertisement. That is your advertisement for the month. That's people seeing your work. That's people knowing your name. So to all the artists out there, don't be afraid to go out there and put your work out there and think, well, I'm not going to get what it's worth. You're getting what it's worth in value of people knowing who you are. And that's another thing. In Talent Scottsdale, I don't know if I told you that. When doing our shows out there, this girl met me and we were in Mesa a few years ago. They opened up a mercantile in Scottsdale. So Adam and I have half of a 10 by 10 cubicle in Scottsdale. And that has been amazing. So just keep on keeping on is what I have to tell anybody. Don't fear. The worst thing a person can tell you is no. That's the worst. And it's all right because somebody around the corner is going to say yes. So you just keep forward because it's out there. And we, like I said, we're all unique in our own way, and everybody's got a special gift that they have to offer. So never stop. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because I'm a perfect example of that. And girl, if I have more time to tell you, I could tell you my whole story, but
Hell yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, damn. But I love it because you did the most. That's exactly what I wished all the teachers in the art schools would tell the students, is what you just said. To
yes,
get out there, to, don't get, discouraged, to keep experimenting and work with things you like. And, but, all the materials you work with, all that money goes all around, all over town. Everybody gets a piece of the pie,
yes, you're helping out your community. It's most definitely. Raíces Taller is the best place to work with. They're an amazing, amazing gallery that I work with. I've been working with them for several years now, and they're such a blessing, and they're so good with the community and giving back to the community. So that's where I started. So people have
That's
to
awesome.
put in somewhere, and don't be fearful of the word no, because you don't know. You don't
Well,
know.
now, and see, that's the concept we're working with now. Is like, what is gonna happen to a place like Raíces during this time? I mean, because that's the same position I'm in right now, and you as a vendor, that we can't go make the money to pay rent because we work with people.
That is right. And that's why we have to also, what you're doing right now for us is amazing, because you're getting us out there. There's a lot of people out there that are watching right now that don't know who the hell Patricia Shorty Gonzalez Silva is. Now they do. But
Yes, they do.
as you are giving us a platform. And again, I cannot thank you and Melissa enough for what you're doing for all of us, because it is such a blessing. But even putting yourself out there on Instagram, if you don't have an Instagram page, guys, or a Facebook page, get a page. I am computer illiterate. I've been trying to work on a damn website for probably 2 years now, but I'm not giving up. It's taking me forever, but I'm going to get it eventually. And while I'm waiting, I'm plugging myself on Instagram. I'm doing raffles on Facebook to, get people to get excited to put a $2 bid to win one of my pieces. Never stop putting yourself out there. Just always keep on pushing forward. And in a time like this, don't get depressed, because this is a time where you can create. This is a time when you prepare, because this isn't going to last forever. This is going to be, God willing, we are all going to come together, and we're going to keep the Galeria Mitotera going live, Raíces going live, with all this beautiful art that we were creating. We're going to pour it back into your galleries, and we're going to make things happen. So we got to stay positive.
Well, I thank you so much for making time for La Mitotera out here, and for the audience out there, so they get to know more of us artists. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you again. Give you and Melissa big smooches from me, and I look forward to working with you some more.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you, guest.
Good night.
Good night.